In this video, I'm going to break down our plan to triple the lifetime value of every single client that comes through our business. I'm going to show you exactly what was broken with our old model, the things we're going to do to fix that, and then how you can take these same principles and apply it to your business. Now, my name is Brian Downard. I'm one of the partners at Prospecting On Demand, where we've helped more than 1,000 marketing agencies install consistent client acquisition systems through our Prospecting in a Box programs. And really one of the challenges we've had over the past couple of years as people have come out of this season of having COVID money, meaning during 2020 to about 2024, a little less maybe, there was just this free-flowing amount of money really coming from businesses, consumers, and people were spending a lot more than they used to. What happened was a lot of people charged high-ticket prices for their programs, which still works to this day, obviously. It's just a much smaller percentage of the market that's going to be willing to just immediately throw money at that for two reasons. One, like I shared, money is not as readily available as it used to be, and businesses can't get these low-interest loans for nothing. And there's a bit of a trust recession as well because people spent that money, got burned, didn't necessarily get the result. People overpromised, over-guaranteed, and it created a lot of distrust and made it really difficult for some of our junior closers on the team to enroll people in our high-ticket programs. So I'm going to just do a really quick rundown of what the model was that we had, what we're doing. I'm going to share with you the exact kind of breakdown of what the value ladder, if you will, looks like. And I'll even give you some exact scripts we're going to be using to send to clients in order for them to ascend. So first and foremost, what was actually broken in our offer? So the first thing was we didn't have what you would call an attraction offer on the front end, something that is low ticket, low commitment in order to get people to be open to just becoming a customer, right? Because to me, there are customers and there are clients. Customers are anyone who have transacted with you, given you a little bit of money, and clients are people who pay you long-term, ideally high ticket, as best as we can do with whatever business model that you're in. So not having this attraction offer really put a lot of pressure on myself and the sales team to close at a high rate, only the high ticket back end offers. And as we have seen over the past year and a half, just becoming a lot more difficult to, on a sales call, get someone to make that commitment. There's too many logistical concerns, whether around money or fear concerns around being burned before, not and investing in things similar to this. And so we needed to adjust that and come up with something that was easy for people to say yes to. I'll give you kind of a funny example outside of this space. So when you see a car commercial, they always have at the end, it's like, hey, well-qualified buyers can purchase or can lease this vehicle for $597 a month. And then they also don't tell you like the asterisk on the screen. There's like a $5,000, $6,000 down payment. They forget that part. But this is a much smarter move. Instead of saying, hey, the truck costs $50,000. I think too, I just saw this stat where average cars, like brand new cars, are like somewhere in the neighborhood of like $30,000-$40,000 at a minimum. So way more expensive than they used to be. And it would hurt sales if that's what they ran within the ads and said, hey, this car is XYZ price, instead of well-qualified buyers can get into this vehicle for X dollars a month. And it makes it so much easier to consider and being open to checking out that vehicle and being open to purchasing it. So I'll show you how we kind of apply that to our offer here in just a moment. Now, another thing that worked pretty well for a while and that I think we overplayed our hand on was something called assumed continuity. And assumed continuity was after a client reached the end of their initial agreement, they would just continue on a month-to-month basis, and we would pretty much only be reactive to making them the next offer to continue or a downsell or add-on when they wanted to cancel. They wanted to reach out, said, hey, I appreciate the program, but I'm done here. And then we would try and play defense. We'd try and save them when they're already 1 foot out the door. It's a very challenging way to, instead of being proactive, to retain those clients. We also didn't really have any urgency to purchase. And when you lack urgency, you're not going to create sometimes the motivation necessary to get someone off of the seat to go do something. Now, I never personally loved this idea of like if you're on a sales call, it's X discount right now if you buy. That kind of feels disingenuous. So we worked some things into our back end offers to build more urgency, more scarcity around that, and I'll show you in just a moment. Now, even though we did have what you would call maybe an ascension offer where they could go from one program to another, or sometimes we would have even a downsell offer on the back end, like I shared, if they're trying to leave the program. We didn't really have clear add-ons or upsells. And I see I have this duplicated right here. So that was a big miss because we're just leaving money on the table by not offering clients the next thing that they want. It's like, hey, you bought a hamburger. Do you want fries with that? Do you want a milkshake with that? And we weren't doing that. We would just sell the burger, be happy with it, and then we'd move on to the next. But having, again, these back end add-ons and upsells is going to significantly change the economics of our business in order to be able to pull money forward faster. And in that sweet spot of that first 30 days, try to cash collect as much as possible so that we can spend more on acquisition on the front end. Now, let's talk about what we changed. So one of the first things we did was we actually did come up with a lower commitment front end offer. So this is what you would maybe call our attraction offer, where it's that we're running the ad and it's like, hey, you can get into the program for $297 a month or $297 a week. And that was something that got people open to the idea of hearing what the pitch is, but we are incentivizing them to prepay and make a longer term commitment by adding on and stacking some additional bonuses. We also have just some really simple, very low fulfillment requirements from our team done for you offers. So essentially, some of our clients, and you'll see this in the scripting, they're good on the strategy, but they don't really want to implement all the things themselves. So in this instance where it's not like fitness, like in fitness, I can't go do the workouts for you. You have to do that. We're running a business here in terms of like selling services to businesses. There are certain things we can do for them. So we have these clear add-ons that help our clients get to the result faster, and they pay a little bit of a premium for that. It's like the Disney Fast Pass, right? You can pay the normal rate, get in line with everyone else, or you can pay for the Fast Pass to kind of jump ahead of that, get priority execution, and really get things done and get to the end result even faster. And one of the really key things we did here as well is this is actually an offer made from our client success team. This isn't going to be something that the sales team comes back around where it might feel disingenuous after a certain amount of time if they haven't spoken to that salesperson. It's going to come from the client success team that they're working with. And again, feel much more like this casual, just like, hey, I just want to make sure you have all options on your radar, just so you know this exists. No pressure either way, but let me know if it's something you're open to hearing about. And when it comes from that place of service, again, the doctor who you're already in the office speaking to is like, hey, we also can do this and this if you're open to it. It allows them to have a lot less pressure to make that decision. And then still for us, within those first 30 days, get them to pay for more. Hormozy has this saying where everyone's got different wallets. It doesn't mean that every different person has a different amount of money. Sure, that's true. It's each individual person has a set amount of money that they're willing to spend on different things. So one individual might have a wallet for coaching. They might have a wallet for done-for-you services, for their food, for entertainment. And so people are willing to spend different amounts of money on different things, which is why having a diverse amount of offers, not trying to sell everything to everyone, but things that essentially, again, people are paying for speed to the result. That's a big one. And then just less effort and sacrifice. People are willing to pay for that. It's again why like Ozempic and the lap band and tummy tuck surgeries and all those things exist because people would rather kind of shortcut certain things instead of dieting and fitness, and they're willing to pay a premium to do that. Now, are those always perfect solutions? No, but you want to try to make sure that obviously everything you're selling does right by your customers in terms of being actually valuable, adding value, and not just a way for you to pull more money in. All right. We now have our continuity offers strategically timed before they're already 1 foot out the door. So again, instead of playing defense, we're having this, depending on which program they're in, the client success team reach out at a very specific time to make them the next offer to continue and re-up, and obviously incentivize that with some urgency and discounts and added value. Now, this is more on the back end. This is more something we keep kind of private, but certain clients, because of the nature of the product we sell, which isn't biz op, but it's also not serving like well established businesses all the time. It's somewhere in the middle where people are making, 5, 10, 20, 50, 100K a month, even sometimes in their business, which isn't bad numbers. Like people be hyped about 100K a month business for sure. But this is an industry where, because of the nature of these solopreneurs, they're a little bit more flighty, the revenue's up and down. We have these bridge offers on the back end where if someone, we like working with them, they show up and they're committed, they're close to getting the result, we will sometimes offer them a temporary break on the price if they're willing to commit for a longer term, again, on the back end. And then this is kind of a bonus, not necessarily related to this, but just helping the process work better end to end. And we just have better qualification around the price in our outbound setting script. This is something I can kind of show you guys as well towards the end. I just wanted to throw it on here as a bonus. So now that we've kind of gone through what was broken, what we changed, let's actually look at the new value ladder. So just to kind of recap this for you, we used to essentially just sell either our elite program for 3 months at 7K or our inner circle program for 3K and 3 months. And this one was pretty easy to sell, to be honest, but we wanted to obviously get people into the higher priced program. Not only do we make more, but we can support them at a higher level. And so the challenge here was, though, after we kind of exited this era of COVID money, we were, like I said, getting a lot of people on sales calls, but our junior sales reps were having a hard time closing them, overcoming objections, and just getting the sale done in a timely manner without endless follow-up. So we had pivoted then to our offers being more of this weekly pricing. So it's a lot less scary of a commitment. They can come in and try it. Elite was $597 a week, Inner Circle $297 a week with 1 month commitments. Now, when we started doing this, we were getting a lot more clients, a lot better volume of opportunity. However, the lifetime value is dropping pretty significantly because we weren't contracting this higher revenue number, and not every single person in these programs is going to stay for that 3 months. And so what we changed here is we still have the option to pay weekly if they want, but when they actually, when I say front end would be on the sales call prior to them actually enrolling in the program. We have these add-ons. So not only do they get a break on the price, because if they were to pay for 3 months at the $597 a week price, it would come out to be like $7,700 and something. And in this case, they actually save a good amount of money. And then we have this bonus done for you ads, copy creative setup, or AI appointment setter setup. Now, in our Inner Circle program, same idea, $297 a week if they want to just try it. That's that like Costco sample. But hey, if you know you really are committed to this, you want to save some money, you want a little bit of extra value, we have the opportunity to commit for 3 months, 3K, and for that, again, a little bit of a break on that monthly price versus paying weekly, and you get this bonus access to the weekly mastermind. Now, if you're watching this video sometime in the future, this bonus or these bonuses, frankly, may change as we kind of play with this offer. This is currently what we have, but in some instances, we've bonused an additional one-on-one offer or funnel audit session for people who commit in this program. Because this is more of our group program, the bonus was that one-to-one access. All right, so now you can kind of see the flow here, right? The done for you ads or AI is a back end add-on, so something they can purchase later. Now, if they purchased a front end add-on here for the elite program, they already get one of those things. So this back end add-on is really just for people in the weekly programs or anyone who committed for 3 months in Inner Circle. And so what we're going to do around day 14 of the program for them, we have a system where our head of client success gets tagged in a message in Slack to reach out to the clients. And we have these templated messages I'll show you here in just a moment. But the idea is to make them this offer if they didn't take us up on it during the initial sales call. And this is offered at day 14. And to create some urgency, they essentially get $500 off if they pay before day 28, essentially their fourth payment or the end of the program. And then on the back end, so These are continuity offers where this is what we want all along, right? We want to retain clients for as long as possible, but if we just assume continuity and we just let them go week to week without some clear incentive or commitment, we're going to leave a lot of money on the table. And so everyone who is in our elite program or the inner circle program, about depending on, again, like if they're in the weekly program, this will get offered at day 21. If they already committed for the 3 months, this will be offered at week 10 in both programs. But essentially, we'll charge them $2,000 a month in Elite if they commit for 3 months at a time, or $1,000 a month in Inner Circle if they commit for 3 months at a time. Not only, again, does this save them some cash month to month, but we even will pause their payments for 2 weeks if they decide by the end of their current commitment that they're in. So if they're at day 21, they essentially have another week to decide if they want to do this. And then if they're in week 10 of the pay in full, they have 2 weeks to decide if they want to do this. And this offer would always be available to them. Like say they wanted to pay weekly for a couple more weeks, and then they decide to jump in at $2,000 a month. That's totally fine, but we want the urgency of they get a 2-week pause on payments if they decide within that time frame. So hopefully this has been helpful and gives you guys some ideas around kind of how we're structuring our offer to pull more cash forward, support our clients in a better way, increase that lifetime value, and just so you can kind of see what those scripts are. And then I'll even pull up our outbound settings scripts so you can see where we've edited the piece around financial qualification. But for our add-on offer at day 14, it goes something like this. Hey, Brian, quick heads up on something that might be useful. Some clients hit this point in the program where they feel solid on the strategy, but just want the speed and execution off their plate. So we started offering some done-for-you ads and AI setups. Totally optional, but it's typically $2,500, and new clients get $500 off if they do it within their first 30 days. Let me know if this is something you'd want to check out. Pretty straightforward invite, very low pressure, just putting the option on their radar. So for our continuity messages, 4 versions of almost the same exact thing. Obviously, the time frame just changes a little bit in terms of like for 10 weeks versus 21 days, depending on which program they're in. I'll just read you one of them. So this would be someone in the weekly program at day 21 in our elite program. Hey, Brian, the team had mentioned you've been showing up consistently and putting in the work, which makes you eligible for our partner rates. It's an invite-only option we share with clients that we enjoy working with and we're clearly committed. You keep the same support, but lock in $2,000 a month when you commit for 3 months. This saves a few $100 each month, and as a bonus, we'll give you the next 2 weeks for free if you let us know within the next 7 days. So pretty straightforward again, building some urgency, pulling more money forward, increasing that lifetime value. And then just so you can kind of see the small edit here in our outbound setting map, when we got to the qualification around budget, we're just making sure they know exactly what the pricing is. So, hey, obviously there's a financial commitment required to work with us. We have packages from like $1,000 to $3,000 a month, depending on how much help you need. Are you in a place where you're open to investing back in your business to grow? They'll say yes here. And then, or if they don't, we have like again, a little of a downsell, if you will, qualification. But because most people are just going to say yes, they are open to that. So then we get specific, like, hey, so what you're saying is assuming everything makes sense and you feel like we could help, do you have $1,000 to $3,000 a month you could leverage so you can get to XYZ goal? This is again going to allow us to get the right people on the call with an expectation already coming into what it costs. Because again, if you see the car commercial and they don't tell you the price and you're just kind of like wondering, chances are a lot less likely you're going to come in because you have this fear of the unknown versus if you know roughly what it costs, you're going to be much more open to showing up to then having that conversation. So hopefully you found this video helpful. If you're enjoying these videos, do me a huge favor, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. I apologize for asking, but this is how the algorithm works. You've been on YouTube for a while, you already know that. It helps us reach more people, impact more lives, and I appreciate your time so much here in this video. So go take this, run with it, and if you have any questions, drop them below in the comments. I read every single one and reply to every single one. And if you have taken anything away from this, you're going to apply any of these things to your business, let me know that too, because I'd love to hear it and love to see how you're growing yours as well. So I'll see you in the next one, fam. Until then, adios.